From the icy fjords of Scandinavia to the jungles of Vietnam, from the castles of Europe to the temples of China, one creature appears in every ancient myth: the dragon. But how is it possible that cultures with no contact, separated by oceans and centuries, all described the same monster? What if the dragon was never real, yet always real? Let's find out. Imagine you're standing in a rice field in southern China during a summer thunderstorm. Lightning cracks across the sky, and in the clouds, you think you see something, long, winding, with glowing eyes. The villagers call it Long, the heavenly dragon. It's no monster. It brings the rain. It brings life. Now, shift the scene. You're in medieval France. A knight returns to the castle, dragging behind him the charred head of a dragon he slayed in the forest. The people cheer. The priest blesses him. Dragons here are devils with wings and fire, guarding gold and kidnapping princesses. But go further still. In the temples of the Aztecs, you'll find Quetzalcoatl, a feathered serpent god worshipped as the bringer of wind and knowledge. He's a creator, not a destroyer. And in the humid jungles of India, children grow up with stories of Nagas, serpent beings who live beneath rivers and guard the cosmic balance. Dangerous, yes, but not evil. Just ancient. Across oceans, deserts, and centuries, the dragon appears again and again, not just as a beast, but as a symbol, a guardian, a threat, a god. How could that be? These cultures never met. They spoke different languages, believed in different gods, followed different paths through history. And yet, they all dreamed of dragons. That's not coincidence. That's a mystery. Let's begin beneath the earth. Centuries ago, a Chinese shepherd finds a cave. Inside, a skull longer than his body. No one has a word for dinosaur. He brings it to his village. They call it a dragon. They grind the bones into medicine, believing it cures disease and brings good luck. And they weren't alone. In Austria, a massive fossilized skull was displayed in a church as the head of a dragon for over 300 years. It was actually a woolly rhinoceros. Ancient Greeks unearthed mammoth bones and believed they'd found fallen giants. In Central Asia, nomads may have discovered protoceratops skulls, beaked, frilled, monstrous, and birthed the griffin myth. In truth, people across history unearthed the bones of prehistoric giants and mistook them for dragons. But fossils aren't the whole story. Something even older may be buried in our minds. Even today, human infants instinctively fear snakes. Psychologists believe this fear evolved over millions of years. Our ancestors learned to survive by avoiding what slithered, what flew, what struck without warning. Dragons are a fusion of ancient fears: the serpent's body, the raptor's claws, the predator's eyes, and the fire of destruction itself. Evolution gave us the terror. Mythology gave it a name. And then, there were those who wanted to prove dragons were real history. In the 1940s, Nazi researchers under Heinrich Himmler were obsessed with dragon myths. They traveled to Tibet and across Europe, searching for dragon skulls, convinced these beasts were connected to ancient Aryan bloodlines. It wasn't science. It was madness disguised as myth. But dragons are more than monsters. They're mirrors, reflections of what each culture feared or revered. In the West, they symbolized sin and chaos. The Book of Job describes Leviathan, a sea dragon that breathes fire and terrifies even the gods. In Christian Europe, dragons hoarded gold, poisoned rivers, and could only be slain by pure-hearted knights. In the East, dragons were symbols of divine power and natural balance. The Chinese emperor called himself the son of the dragon. To this day, children born in the year of the dragon are believed to carry destiny in their blood. And in ancient Babylon, the first dragon slayer wasn't a knight, but a god. Marduk killed the chaos dragon Tiamat, split her body in two, and used it to create the heavens and earth. The dragon is always there, at the beginning of the world, or guarding the end of it. It changes shape, but it never disappears. So how do we explain it? No skeletons, no sightings, no fossils that can't be explained. And yet, dragons are more believed in than ever. They're in movies, on flags, in tattoos, in lullabies. Because dragons aren't creatures. They're symbols. They embody the unknown, the untouchable, the unforgivable. They guard what we fear most, and what we desire most. And maybe that's the point. Every time we imagine a beast in the cave, every time a hero steps forward with nothing but a sword and courage, every time we dream of flying through a storm with wings of fire, we awaken the dragon again. So the next time thunder shakes the sky, or you hear a story that ends with, "And the dragon still sleeps," don't be so sure it's just a tale. Because dragons may never have lived in the flesh, but they've been alive in the human soul since the beginning of time, and that is why dragons will never die.